We can read from chapter 17. Somebody wants to read?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
May I?
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I'll quickly attend, Prabhu. I'll take the fortune of reading Bhagavatam from the land of Vrindavan.
Jai Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hari bol, Prabhu. Thank you. Arjuna uvacha ye shastra vidhim utriyaha yajante shraddhaya yanitaha tesam nishta turka Krishna tattvam aho rajastamaha. Purport, Prabhu. Translation. Arjuna inquired, "O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the scripture but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance?"
Okay. Aparna, would you like to read the next one?
Sure, Hare Krishna. Chapter 17, text 2. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Trividham Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sa Swabhavajam Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Secheti Tam Shrinu. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of three kinds: in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now hear about this.
Next.
Chapter 17, text 3. Sattvanurupa sarvasya shraddha bhavati bharata Shraddha mayo yam purusho yoyach shraddha sa evasa. Translation. O son of Bharata, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired.
Okay. Praveen Prabhu, would you like to read another verse? Just to 17.4.
Prabhu?
Would you like to read another verse?
Yeah, Prabhu. Please bear with my Sanskrit English, Prabhu, and a bit of disturbance. Sorry.
No. I'm just trying to satiate your need for chanting in Vrindavan. Go ahead.
Sure, Prabhu. We'll pray for all devotees, Prabhu, in the group here.
Oh.
Yajante. Yes, Prabhu. Yajante Satvika Devan.
We are not able to hear you.
Prabhu, am I audible?
Now you are.
Okay, you want me to read again, Prabhu?
Please.
Yajante Satvika Devan Yaksa Raksamsi Prajasaha Pretan Bhuta Ganam Chane Yajante Tamasa Janaha. Translation. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons, and those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Maybe I'll just pause and cover so far what we're looking. So according to our modes of nature, we have different kinds of faith. And it naturally we have inclination towards certain kinds of faiths. For example, there are certain people who like to worship ghosts, like tantrics and whatnot. You'll find them in crematoriums. They like a little raw, little hardcore version of worship. Then there are those who like to worship the Vishnu tattvas, right? Which requires you to be vegetarian, which requires you to be balanced, sattvic. Your diet, your lifestyle, everything is soft and balanced, and charity. It's filled with that kind of mood. So there are different kinds of modes of worship. Then there are those who worship the demigods, right? So they can get their instant sense gratification. So that is also there. So the different modes are as you can say, chairman. There are different chairmen. They're chaired by different personalities. Lord Shiva is in charge of the mode of ignorance. So he has all these personalities who are ghosts and goblins as his chelas, right? Lord Shiva he accepts people who do ganja and whatnot. This personalities who are in that mode. It's not he's in that mode. Please don't get me wrong. Lord Shiva is the highest Vaishnava out there. He's almost as good as God. But his followers, he's kind enough to take care of those personalities who are in the mode of ignorance. Then there is mode of passion, the devatas, the demigods, and then there's mode of goodness, where Vishnu or Vishnu Tattva, Krishna, Rama, so that's that. So if you look at the Upanishads, there are 108 Upanishads, and they are also categorized in that way. If you look at the Puranas, they are also categorized. There are Puranas in mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, like Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. So you will see accordingly the kind of deities that are talked about. So there is Bhagavad Puran, of course, that is the highest, best, transcendental. But there are also like Padma Puran, Kurma Puran, Narada, this, that, all kinds of Puranas that are in the mode of goodness. Then you have Shiva Puran, Devi Puran, and things like that, that are in the mode of passion. Then there are the tantric, books and whatnot. So everything has this gradation of Rajasic, Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic. So faith also, by our karma and our psychophysical nature, we are attracted to certain kinds of faith. So you will see there are people who worship movie stars, right? Krishna will soon talk about this. Krishna knew this 5,000 years ago. He'll talk about people who worship people. When I was in South India, I saw Jayalalitha, they have a picture of her and they're doing like Abhishek. I was like, what is going on, right? So there's all kinds of things that happen. In Bengal, when you used to have football, Mohun Bagan, East Bengal, they would worship the football, put garland on it, and they'll do all kinds of things. So faith's in different modes, right? And then there is faith. So the very beginning itself, Arjuna is asking a very right question for the age of Kali, which is that when you don't follow the scriptures and you follow hodgepodge philosophy, right? What is it? What does it fall under? Oh Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scriptures but worship according to their own imagination? The unfortunate thing about Hinduism today is that you ask any Hindu down the street, you'll get a different answer of Hinduism. Who is God? Somebody will say Shiva, somebody will say Krishna, somebody will say Durga, somebody will say Ganesha, somebody will say something else, I'm Brahma Jyoti, somebody will say something, right? I am God, you're God. Different variation. Nobody cares to read the scriptures, and they will come up with their own imagination. But when it comes to physics, chemistry, math, they'll follow the books, they will go to college, they will go to school, right? So there's a process for things that are of this world, things that are much more harder to understand from a different dimension altogether. We think we don't need books for that. We can just come up with our own interpretation. And that's why Arjuna is asking this very pertinent question for the age of Kali, that what happens to those people who come up with imaginative ways of spiritual life, something that is not based on the scriptures. So by this question, we can understand that by default, we should understand religion means from scriptures. right? If some Baba says something, where is it in the scriptures? Some great saint, so-called great saint says something, where is it in the scriptures? It shouldn't be anybody's opinion. It is supposed to be from Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. And they should all align. Shastra being the ultimate authority. If a guru says something that is not in the Shastras, not acceptable. If a sadhu does something that is not in the Shastras, not acceptable. The scriptures are of highest, what can I say, authority. That's where everything is. So if we are stating from scriptures with context, now I can, it is very easy to manipulate scriptures when you take things out of context, right? So it is important that when a verse is being spoken, the full verse is being spoken. The verse before and after is also read. Otherwise, it's very easy. One gets into the understanding that, oh, Krishna is saying this. Oh, how can he say that he's God, right? So there are many such controversial statements. People use that, especially people from our own religion use that to talk against the Vedas. So it is important that we understand the context. That's why Srila Prabhupada's purports are so much larger than the translation, because he's giving access to the context. What are we talking about? Okay. So after Arjun asked the question, Sri Bhagavan is responding, Krishna is responding, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul. Acquired meaning mode of nature. According to one's karma, one acquires the mode of nature, right? If one has been a butcher, they will acquire the mode of ignorance. If one has been associated with those who are mode of passion, they'll acquire the mode of passion. So it's acquired. By default, what is our position? If we don't have any modes of nature acquired, what is our original position? Anybody?
Shuddha Sattva, Prabhuji.
Shuddha Sattva. We are pure devotees to the core. The soul is a pure spark of God. But when we come into this world, we have this body. Out of ignorance, we associate with different modes of nature, and we acquire different modes of nature, and we act in that mode, and we acquire karma, action, reaction, and we get those kinds of bodies, and thereby life after life we suffer until somebody comes and gives us Krishna consciousness, and then we're like, oh, this is what it was. Okay. Embodied soul, one's faith. Okay. Next, Krishna is saying, O son of Bharata, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. Like I said, according to the modes, one has a propensity towards certain deities, towards certain kinds of worship. I remember, although I was born in a family where we were Kali worshippers, in my house we used to have a huge Durga Puja, celebrations and all of that. But I almost always, whenever I go to a Kali temple, and if there was even the sound of a goat screaming in pain, I would cry incessantly. I would throw a fit. I would beg them not to kill the goat. I would literally make a scene, right? Because to me, I couldn't tolerate the pain of another living entity. And I would be so wonderstruck that how come so many people are watching this, right? How come their reaction is not like mine? Now I understand, because their reaction is based on what modes they have acquired, right? And thus, to them, it is natural that somebody who is weak, who has no choice, who has no freedom, can be subjugated to that kind of cruelty, right? That's their mode of nature, and that's why they can harm people. But one who's mode of goodness cannot stop tears from coming in their eyes. Arjun, just look at him. His wife has been, mistreated. He has been mistreated. His brothers have been mistreated. They've been cheated, plundered, looted for years and years and years. And yet he's saying, I don't want to kill them. I don't want to kill them. I'd rather go beg in the Himalayas, because he's a soft heart. That's a devotee, right? But those who are in the mode of ignorance can harm themselves, harm others, animals, humans, plants, environment, doesn't matter. Such a person becomes a leader if they're leader of a state, leader of a family, leader of a corporation, you will see the consciousness percolates the entire organization. When I go to visit a certain business or something, by the way the watchman treats me, by the way the assistant treats me, and then I meet the actual business owner, I can tell the consciousness of the business owner before even I meet that person, because the way the company culture is. Because the other persons, because Krishna says, Yadyat Acharati Sveshta. So whatever the leader does, their followers follow. So by seeing them, you'll understand what kind of a organization this is, what kind of a consciousness the leader of the organization holds. It's very clear. Today, if you see Tamil Nadu, right, it is led by a certain politician who comes from a lineage whose father put a garland of shoes on Lord Ramachandra's deity, right? Karunanidhi. He had put a garland of shoes on Ramachandra's deity. Now, if it was another religion, he'd be dead at that moment. But this is the kind of background this man is coming from. His name is Stalin. Imagine. Stalin is known for killing millions of people. Such a person, now in that state, what do you see? Heavy conversion, heavy brutality, all kinds of nonsense is happening. Andhra Pradesh, same thing. Kerala, same thing. Who are the heads of these states? Now, I'm not trying to make a political point here, but it is important to understand that the leaders, their consciousness percolates through what they lead or who they lead, right? And when we're paying taxes to such leaders and whatnot, we have no choice, but we are part of that karma. So, as leaders yourselves, why am I saying this? I'm not here to make a political statement. I'm here to talk about us. We need to correct our behavior. We need to look at our consciousness and see, how can I be the kind of leader Lord Ramachandra was? And thereby, if my consciousness is right, so many others who are under my care, whether it's my family, whether it's my business, whether it's my colleagues in office, whoever comes in contact with me will have that kind of influence over their consciousness, and thereby they will upgrade from the modes, right? That is very, very important. We need to be influencers, not social media influencers, but influencers in consciousness. The people come in contact with our consciousness, they become instantly influenced. I'll share a little bit of Lord Chaitanya's influence. Lord Chaitanya, after being in Jagannath Puri, after taking sannyas, there was a period of a few years, I think, where he went around the country. He went to southern India, he went to North India, he met with Guru Nanak also at that time. And it is incredible. If you see Chaitanya Charitamrita describing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was 7 feet tall, right? He was effulgent. So he's Krishna in Radharani's mood. Krishna is dark in color. Lord Chaitanya got all the good things. Radharani's golden complexion and Lord Krishna's attractiveness. So just by seeing him, people would have tears in their eyes, right? And he would always chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Seeing him, others would chant Hare Krishna just by seeing him. And then sometimes Lord Chaitanya would hug them. And by Lord Chaitanya's embrace, they'll be infused with Krishna consciousness, so much so that they would go back to their village. The entire village would be chanting Hare Krishna and they would become devotees. So people who would come in contact with Lord Chaitanya, they would just go and those, they would become influencers, right? And this was happening in the thousands and thousands. Wherever Lord Chaitanya went, people, and this is South India, they don't know. Nobody told them this is Krishna or he's a great scholar from Navadvip, nothing like that. They would dig holes in the roads just to get dust from the places where Lord Chaitanya has walked upon. That was his attractive nature, right? So this is the personality we're talking about. When Lord Chaitanya went to Kurmakshetra, he met this personality who was worshipping Kurmadev, Kurma Avatar in South India. After, he invited Lord Chaitanya, please come and stay with us. Lord Chaitanya stayed, had prasadam, they had nice philosophical discourse. And he was so influenced, he said, my dear Lord, I want to be with you. I want to leave my family, my kids. I just want to be with you. And he said, no, don't do that. You stay here, you chant the holy name. Through the holy name, you will have my full association. All right? But you must do your duties of a householder. You must worship the deity Kurmadev, and you should do all your things. But my association will always be there with you by the chanting of the holy name. So that is the kind of influence Lord Chaitanya had, and the people Lord Chaitanya influenced. So we have the great fortune of being in that line of unbroken chain of Guru Shishya Parampara of Lord Chaitanya. This is very, very important. When we understand this, then we can understand, we can upgrade anyone from the lowest modes of material nature. Chinese people who are, this is being recorded. Chinese people who are mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam as those who are chandalas or dog eaters. If you go to China, I was very surprised. I'm not surprised. It's like they start with dog meat, duck meat, cow meat, and chicken meat, right? Chicken is the last. Starts with dog. I was like, holy cow. This is like, and so Bhagavatam says that even the dog eaters, if they're chanting the holy name, they are considered higher than Brahmanas. And if a Brahmana is not chanting the holy name, according to his activities, should be considered a Shudra. Right? So it is not where you're born, it is what you act, how you act. Amazing Chinese devotees I've met. Amazing personalities, right? So it doesn't matter where they are. If you've seen my videos, I've shared so many stories of drug addicts becoming Krishna conscious, thieves becoming Chicago Police Department, cop, right? Lord Chaitanya's mercy can transform anyone. It didn't stop with Jagai and Matai. I'm also one of those fallen souls who have somehow been uplifted by Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So we shouldn't judge, you're from mode of ignorance, you have no hope. One of the devotees I really appreciate within our movement, his name is Vaisheshika Prabhu. He's Prabhupada disciple, one of our governing body members of ISKCON, and he's in charge of book distribution throughout the world. So I had the great fortune in Chicago to do book distribution with him. And it was interesting. We were in a Vietnamese district where, Vietnamese people are also like Chinese. They're cutting live animals, they're skinning live cows. It's like the kind of things they do. And I saw Vaisheshika Prabhu going to a Vietnamese restaurant where this man was cutting live fish. The most horrible thing, it's like the fish is struggling and they're literally, harming the fish. And he was hell-bent on giving this man a book and getting a donation from him. There are so many people down the street. He's not giving anyone. He is focused on this person. And as he got some coin, some 50 cents, something. As he got out, he realized what I was thinking. He said, this man is doing so much bad karma every single day. What hope does he have? So I was hell-bent on giving him a little bit of Lord Chaitanya's mercy, so that, and when he gives the coin, whatever little bit he is given, he is donated to Lord Chaitanya's mission. That is the beginning of a spiritual life, right? So this is the mood of Nityananda Prabhu. Lord Chaitanya told Nityananda Prabhu, if you want to please me, go to every door, go to every person, even those who don't deserve it, and give them this Krishna consciousness. And Lord Nityananda said, fine, I'll do that. He would beg and plead everyone. And those who are following Lord Nityananda's footsteps, also their duty is to go and beg and plead everyone to chant the holy name, to take on Krishna consciousness, right? So it's very, very important we understand this mood of Lord Chaitanya, because in Kali Yuga, Kalo Shudra Sambhava, everybody is Shudra in Kali Yuga, everybody is mode of ignorance. We are born into mode of ignorance in Kali Yuga. Om Agyana Timirandasya. We are born into Agyana. Timira means darkness. Gyananjana Shalakaya. Gyan is received from Guru, scriptures, Guru Sadhu Shastra. So it is important that we don't judge people who are in the mode of ignorance. We understand it. Krishna is saying different modes, different faiths. And we pick people up from what faiths they are in. This Amoglila Prabhu got in trouble because, in a public space, he's talking about Ramakrishna mission and all the things that happens. And we speak in private. Not speak about these things in public because people can't take it unless they have sufficient understanding. It took me 3 years to accept these understandings, right? Why is what Ramakrishna says or Vivekananda says, why is it wrong? Because it doesn't align with Bhagavad Gita. We will see shortly. Krishna will say after a few verses. Those who worship the Devatas go to Devatas, those who worship the ghosts go to ghosts, those who worship me come to me. Krishna is saying it. Whereas Ramakrishna Dev is saying, Yatomat Tatopat. Whoever you worship, you go to the same God. You're a terrorist, you bomb around you. You're doing suicide bombing, you're going to God. You're living a life of sattvic lifestyle, and you're also going to God. How is that fair? Doesn't make sense. Krishna is not saying it. It's important to understand that, but we can't say this publicly because people who have lack of knowledge won't understand it unless they have sufficient understanding of the Gita. Right? So it is important that we understand who we are talking to, what mode they're in. If they're in mode of ignorance, and I tell them, give up meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, what? That's what people did before Prabhupada. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, with his blood money, he sent the best of his erudite, scholarly devotees to England. They went there, and all glories to them. But they didn't have the marketing skill that Prabhupada had. Prabhupada realized these are hippies. I can't give them the highest philosophy from day one. I have to bring them up to speed slowly. So when Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur's disciples went and they said, no illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, the English people were like, then what's left in your life? How do you enjoy? Right? Like, hello, sorry, I can't, I want Hinduism, but if this is what I have to do, I don't know anything else. This is all that I have. Right? And taking away all my happiness. So they came back empty-handed. Srila Prabhupada went and he said, love God, love God, love God, love Krishna. Right? Chant the holy name, chant the holy name, chant the holy name. And when there was a little bit of purification from all the drugs, all the alcohol, all the craziness of hippie movement, finally they're asking the right questions, right? From the basic questions to higher questions. Prabhupada, are there rules? Oh, yes, there are rules. Oh, yes, there are rituals. Oh, yes, there are ways of methods of worship. Oh, yes, there are things you can eat and you cannot eat. After a year, right? So bringing them up to speed, like cooking. You don't just turn on the full heat for every thing you cook. There are certain things that need slow heat, certain things that need high heat, and in between you change the temperature and you can accordingly mold the food in the way you want to cook it. Same way, the human mind has to be molded. It's an art and a science. But most important thing is compassion. There is no rush that 16 rounds within 2 months. No. Who are you answering to? Is it like a sales pitch? No. It is not. We are going with the kind of corporate attitude. Having said that, in my college preaching days, it would generally take me 1.5 years to get somebody from 0 to 16 rounds, right? Now, that was not by force. That was just an observation I saw. Like, on average, somebody who has, under my care would take that long to get there. Fine. Someone could take 8 years also. Someone could be chanting from day one. But it's not a thing we force. We understand what mode of nature they're in and slowly and beautifully bring them up to passion. If somebody is in ignorance, bring them up to passion. Then goodness, then Shuddha Sattva. Right? It's a gradual process. Otherwise, the quickly they go, the quickly they go down. Also. Right? So many people I've seen pushing, preaching, you have to, you should wear kanti, you should wear dhoti, you should do tilak, you should do that. Before you know, they're running away in fear of Krishna consciousness. That shouldn't be the case. So it's a very, very, yes, Harsh.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
So, Prabhu, I wanted to ask how to do effective preaching. Like, is there any like book instructions out there so that we can like keep on reading them to get more
This
and
is
Krishna
more?
the thing.
Prabhu.
It is not.
Very, very sorry to interrupt, Prabhu.
Yeah.
If you permit, Prabhu, as you're talking about Prabhupada's glories, I'm right in front of Prabhupada in Vrindavan. If you can switch on the video to
Please,
take the darshan for you and the devotee.
please.
Hare Krishna.
You're so fortunate. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. This is where Srila Prabhupada, his body has been buried here. This is his samadhi in Vrindavan. Yeah.
Prabhu, if you permit, I can go to Krishna Balram Radharani and then just within 1 minute I can show the.
It is not legal to take pictures there after 9 a.m. So the security
Sure,
guards might not appreciate that. But thank you for showing Prabhupada and giving us Vrindavan Darshan.
My pleasure, Prabhu. My pleasure for giving an
Hare
opportunity.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. With your permission, I will
Yes.
drop off, Prabhu.
Please,
Take
have a wonderful time in Vrindavan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Harsh, go ahead. So what I was saying, Harsh, is it's not something that book reading can help you with. It is something that it is, first understand. Don't come in between Krishna and the devotee, right? Krishna's mercy is like shower, waterfall. It is falling with like waterfall. All you got to do is just align the devotee so you can get. Generally, devotees are holding a chhatri, an umbrella, right? That's why they're not getting the mercy. You just have to take the chhatri out. That means anarthas. Take the anarthas out and let them just align them with Krishna. And all the magic will happen. Whatever has to happen. I have always seen. I just pray to Krishna before somebody, preaching to someone. Krishna, you know what is in their heart. They know what is, what they're suffering with. I'm just connecting you to, and you to figure it out, right? And then Krishna does wonders, and devotees say, "Oh, miracles are happening in my life. Oh, Krishna just did this perfect time in the perfect minute." So this magic, don't come in between that magic. Because Krishna is eager for his devotee. You are the instrument, become the instrument in Krishna's hand. Be in prayerful mood, number one. Speak only from scriptures to the degree the other person can take it. Otherwise, be very delicate. Number three, be extremely loving without any condition, without any agenda. That's it. When they feel, they perceive the true love that you're giving them because you've received it, that is what transforms the heart, opens up the heart like a lotus flower. And then they're able to absorb the knowledge, the Krishna Bhakti, little by little. Just like a little baby, you don't pour the whole glass of water. You give little by little, right? Because children can only drink little by little. So same way, understand this is a child in Krishna consciousness. Don't give the whole philosophy in one go. Little by little. And give lots of love, little philosophy. Lots of love, little philosophy. Holy name comes in, little philosophy, lots of love, holy name. That's the combination. Slowly, slowly, see the transformation. Ask feedback. Are you enjoying? Are you happy? Are you seeing Krishna's mercy happening in your life? Is Krishna reciprocating with you? Are you perceiving it? Hear it, and then go take the next step. So it's a very caution, loving, prayerful act of bringing someone to Krishna consciousness. No book can help you with this. Of course, the scriptures are all there, but this is a matter of patient love, right? A lot of patience is required, a lot of love is required, and be shastrically accurate and give as much as they can take. With experience, you'll get better at it. Does it make sense, Harsh?
Yeah, a lot. Also, one more question, like general question, like how to introduce to someone like Krishna consciousness. Like how to
First,
introduce?
understand who they are, where they're coming from, and based on that, introduce that aspect of Krishna. For example, somebody is coming from Islamic background, let's say, right? So they say, who's Krishna? So for them, you believe in one God, we also believe in one God. The same God you call Allah, we call Krishna. Allah means almighty, Krishna means all attractive. Commonality. You're talking to a person who is erudite scholar, PhD, lot of gyan, right? Who is Krishna? Krishna is the source of all knowledge. Krishna is from whom all the Vedas have come. He's the Adi Purush, he's the source of all sources. That is, that is our understanding from our scriptures. And from him, everything. So like that, different people, different description. I was talking to a feminist. With her, she saw Radha and Krishna. I was like, who's that lady? And I was like, that's the female form of Krishna. Oh, God is a female form? Yes. Radha Krishna Nahi Bhinna. God, Radha and Krishna together is the ultimate absolute truth. God as a male form and female form. Oh, that's wonderful, right? So different audience, because Krishna is, everything is in him, right? So you can explain Krishna in every single way you want. Whether as a teacher, as a friend, as a lover, as God, as a warrior, as a politician, as a son, as a, as a miscreant, anything you want. Like Prabhupada would say, oh, you're a thief. Krishna was also a thief. He met a thief. Prabhupada explained, appreciated him. It's like, oh, you're a thief. Krishna was also, he was a butter thief, right? So any single way you can basically introduce Krishna. When Prabhupada was in Africa, he said, you guys are all dark in color. Krishna is also dark in color. And you know what? He has a white girlfriend. They're like, oh, that's so awesome, right? So whoever, wherever they are, whatever they can relate to, you make that the way to explain Krishna to them.
Amazing. Got it. Got it. Thank you.
There is no fixed method. Krishna is versatile and so are his devotees. So we have to be dynamic and versatile, explaining Krishna to different people in different ways that they appreciate. That is our goal, that they should appreciate. They don't have to be 16 rounders, but they should go with a smile. They should have a positive impact. I was dealing with a bunch of atheist students, and I kept on talking about the things that they would appreciate. That means compassion, kindness, inclusivity, diversity, all of that. They did a whole documentary about Krishna consciousness with interviewing me and other devotees. And I told all the devotees, talk about these topics only. Don't get into, atheism, theism, fight, no. And when they went out, these are students from Northwestern University, which produces the highest number of journalists that work for New York Times and other, big newspapers and whatnot. They went away with the idea, we are not going to be theistic, but we appreciate that Hare Krishnas are all inclusive. Every other religion that we interviewed, they were talking about inclusivity, their God versus other gods. You guys talk about all, appreciating all other ideas of God to be one idea, one God, and all inclusive. That is something to be appreciated, whether we believe in God or not, right? So positive impact. That is our goal. Every person we come in contact with should go with a positive impact. No matter how harmful, how lowly, or how high, erudite they might be, doesn't matter. We should give them a positive impression of Krishna consciousness. Done. Our work is done. The rest, Krishna will take it.
Got it. Got it. Also, one more last question. Like sometimes what happens, people do ask question and we do have solutions, but we know that if I tell them the answer, they will like not digest that.
So I made that mistake when I was your age. I would give them the Mufat answers, right? Because I'd show them the scripture, right? Bring out Veda base and show them here. Krishna says it. And that would shut them out. But that wouldn't open their heart, right? So over time, I realized that was my ego working because I knew better than them. So I was actually trying to prove them wrong, and in that process, breaking their heart. And they would never come to me and talk about Krishna consciousness or spirituality ever again because of the fear of getting defeated. So it is important that we, although we have all the answers, we bring them to a point where they can feel comfortable to open up their heart. And if there's a crack in the heart, they can receive only so much. Give them only that much. Don't overload.
Got it.
Slowly, you will have a tunnel into their heart, and then you can give more and more and more. And Krishna will do the rest.
Done. Thanks.
I mean, if you realize Philosophy Friday, I can easily grow this if I put it on Facebook. I just have to put the link, the WhatsApp group link on Facebook, and people will join in the hundreds. But I don't want that. For them, the YouTube channel is there. This is a place where serious people are here, right? Who are asking serious questions, who are following. And I can open my heart here and I can give Krishna consciousness as it is without sugarcoating it because your hearts are open. You're willing to accept it. That's why we are talking direct Krishna Katha. But if you see me on stage, I will never talk like this. I'll say only like, superficial stuff, which is where people are. And from there, if somebody says, I want to know more, they can come to Philosophy Friday. So it's important that we maintain understanding of that. and not kind of overload people with our philosophical knowledge. Okay, there's a question that says blessed. Okay, anything else?
Prabhuji, I had a out of context question here. So, like, does Bhagavad Gita or our scriptures say anything about transgender bodies, or what kind of karma somebody has to do to get into that kind of body?
So, who killed Bhishma Dev?
Shikhandi.
Shikhandi is a great example of transgender. And there were many such examples, even in the Vedic period. And they were given, I mean, it was not like today where there is this sense of like, ew, or, judgment and all of that. In the Vedic period, it was like everybody has their place. If you see Shikhandi in Mahabharata battle, he was a woman who became a man, right? And he was on the chariot. And as a result of that, Bhishma Dev was not able to throw any arrows because Bhishma Dev knew this is Amba, I think, from past life, right? And he was defeated. And he gave the answer. He only told Krishna, like, I will not fight if there is not a man on the chariot, right? And Krishna knew exactly who he was talking about. So, but if you see, there is nothing, not a single word that is derogatory about Shikhandi. In fact, he's considered a prince. He's from royal family. He's fighting. He's doing everything, and he is satiated when Bhishma Dev dies. Fine, he has his thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know many other examples, but I know there are examples, and it was not the way it is today.
I mean, now it is very polarized. But I mean, the gender is only in the body, right? So it's not on the soul level.
Correct.
So how does
So it doesn't matter. That's the only thing. Those who are spiritually conscious, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What is your gender? What is your sexual orientation? What is your skin color? It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Yeah. So basically, there is nothing in terms of like a specific karma that you have to go through.
Of course, there has been some karma for which somebody has been born in such a situation where that person is not man, not woman, right? Like, I'm not going to go into those topics, but yeah. So there are, obviously. So that's why, because it's not a very happy life to be a transgender, right? You're not falling into any of these boxes. Is difficult. It's not easy to be part of any kind of. One doesn't have a leg. One doesn't have an eye. One doesn't have a ear. One has issues, mental issues. Anything wrong with the body affects the person residing in the body, right? Whether it's a transgender, whether somebody is having handicap issues, whether somebody is having mental issues, anything. So that is because of karma, of course.
Yeah, that's why I exactly asked. But yeah, I mean, there is no specific karma that.
There can be many things. One, it could be that one has had many sexual relationships, hurt a lot of women, and they've been cursed, right? So they're born like Brihannala, right? Arjun became Brihannala. He was a transgender. He was cursed by what was her name? The heavenly
Urvashi.
Urvashi, thank you. Urvashi cursed him because he called Urvashi mother, because Urvashi was girlfriend of, I think, one of his father.
Indradev.
Yeah, something. So in the context, when Urvashi was feeling attracted towards Arjun was like, hey, don't do that. You're like my mother. And she was like, well, how dare you? And she cursed him to become Brihadala. So, and then, of course, because of relationship, the curse was shrunk to only the period of Agyatavas. Right? Otherwise, you'd be cursed to be. So, yeah, there are situations like that where you do certain karma and you get that kind of body. So, yes, for anything. What karma? I don't know. Does it
Okay,
answer
more
the
of a
question?
yes, more of a curse, Prabhuji, at that time. Yeah. Now it is more of a karma, as much I
Yeah.
understand. But we cannot point it out. But thank you, Prabhuji, for explanation.
But my logical mind would say it would have something to do with sexual acts, that one must have done something the exploitation of the opposite sex, or too many, deviations in sexual acts or whatever it is, or hurt too many women or men, that they're born in such a way that they can't have a relationship, that is considered the norm.
Okay, Prabhuji.
And that's not from scriptures. That is just my logical brain coming to that conclusion. I might be wrong. Pradeep Prabhu.
Prabhuji, one out of context question. How can someone overcome self? Means how can we do something selflessly? Means if I see you are doing so many things selflessly. Means to overcome self, it requires a lot of courage. So means whenever I see things to do something overcoming myself, I find it very difficult. So can you share some tips?
Gratitude. So because I've received it, someone has selflessly given it to me, my mentor, my guru, right? I have that sense of gratitude towards them. And because I've received it, it is only natural that I'm giving it. If you see kids who have received a lot of love from their parents and been trained properly, sometimes a lot of love can lead to kids who are kind of naughty, but if they're trained properly, they will become very loving parents, right? And those who have been mistreated, they sometimes become, so what you receive is what you give, right? So when you receive, then only you give. And that is something that, and it is important to acknowledge. Like in chapter 3, you're in the morning class. In chapter 3, Krishna is saying, acknowledge the demigods. That you're receiving the rainfall, the sunlight, the moonlight, and the fruits and the vegetables and all of that. You're receiving it. So acknowledge it. If you don't acknowledge the demigods, you're a thief. A very strict statement. So it is important that what we're receiving, we acknowledge it, we feel gratitude. When we are burdened with gratitude, naturally we want to give. So our hearts have to be filled. When it overflows with gratitude and love, that's when we are able to selflessly give. Because it feels like, my God, I have so much. What will I lose by giving? In fact, I have, I have more than sufficient for myself. I want to give. So first we fill our empty bowls. We might have a lot of money in our bank. We might have a lot of intelligence in our head, but almost always in Kali Yuga, our hearts are empty. So absorb as much as possible from the disciplic succession. So hearts are full. And when we are full, then we feel, oh, I can give, right? And that's when you start giving, and there is no end to, because although heart has, the Krishna consciousness is such, it's like Draupadi's Akshay Patra. There is no end to it. Lord Chaitanya is, given so much love for Godhead, there is no end. The more you give, the more you actually grow. Knowledge, the more you give, we have Neera Mataji here, she's a teacher. The more you give knowledge, the more you grow, right? She will never forget things that she teaches, because that's the knowledge. For me also, I'm teaching Gita. It was so nice to go through the chapters over and over and over again. This is probably the 5th or 6th time or 7th time, I don't know. And it's every time it's so nice. So what is happening is my experience of Bhagavad Gita is growing every time I am sharing this knowledge with. So Krishna consciousness is like that. When you share, you get more. So then you realize there is no loss in the process. Because of gratitude, you give more. But then as you start giving, you realize you're gaining so much more. Krishna is filling your life with so much more. You give more and more and more. And it becomes a process that is part of your lifestyle.
Prabhuji, means if we think like that I will gain more, so I am giving
No,
more.
you don't think like that. It just happens. You don't think like that. That becomes business mentality. I'll gain.
Yes.
Right? But we see that is happening. So we don't run out of battery. What generally happens with a lot of charitable people I have seen, even in my family, when they're giving money, giving everything, in the eyes of the people, they're like, oh, so great person. He even gave away his own jewelry and whatnot. But they run out eventually. With Krishna consciousness, you never run out. You actually see, your tank is full and it just grows. And you can give more as you give more. Right? So it's not like I'll give to get. It's just I'm giving and there's more is coming. Okay, let's give more. Krishna will somehow manifest more.
So the motivation should be gratitude. Right?
Motivation is gratitude. Motivation is, it's my duty, I've received it, I should give out of gratitude.
Yes, rightly said, sir. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Prabhuji, I'd like to share a story here.
Yeah.
So recently, in Ratha Yatra, I went to Mahesh. So it's after Puri, it's the biggest Ratha Yatra happens. So I went there to meet a friend. There is one of my friend's house. So I just planned of okay, just meeting him for 5 minutes and then going in the Mela to just roam around and have fun, right? And then when I went to meet him, he pulled out the Bhagavad Gita by Prabhupada, and then we ended up having a 2 hour conversation about Bhagavad Gita, and completely lost time. And then I couldn't actually go to the Mela, and I was really happy about it because I really love to have a conversation, and like that made me feel really, really good about it. So yeah.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Anything else? Questions, comments? Yes, Harsh.
So this question, it came into my mind after you quoted something related to Bhishma Dev. My grandpa, he is not a practicing devotee, but he reads scriptures by Srila Prabhupada and also is chanting 1 to 2 hours every day. So he had one question, so he asked me and I was unanswerable. That was I have seen many times in scriptures in Srimad Bhagavatam that Bhishma Dev Ji is quoted as a very
Mahajan.
saintly person and great devotee, very great devotee. So why was it that in Sabha, in the Vastraharan Sabha, he didn't even say a thing? What was stopping? Like, devotees are not on material level, so why did he limit himself to material level and didn't speak up? So this is the question. And even after doing that, he's quoted as a very senior devotee and all. So he had that question. So just
Sure. So he is a Mahajan. He is known for his truth. He's known for his prowess. He's known for being a devotee of Krishna. Now, he's also human. First of all, to understand, I'll give you two angles to it. One is he is human. And as a human being, as a dharmic person, he is attached to the fact that, hey, I'm under I'm being fed. I'm under the protection and everything is from the royal family. And so I can't talk against the royal family, right? Now, that was not the right thing to do, but that's what he did. The second aspect is he is not a common person like you and me. He is a Mahajan, one of the 12 Mahajans, right? Yamraj being one of them, right? So he's one of the 12 very selected people. Now, he understands Krishna Leela. So when Krishna Leela is happening, it is very different from a normal situation that is happening. And in Krishna Leela, certain people have to play certain parts. Only then the Leela can manifest. If Bhishma Dev had stopped it, Krishna's Leela of sending the sari wouldn't happen. The Mahabharat war wouldn't happen, right? Annihilation, Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashas Dushkritam wouldn't happen. Yudhishthir Maharaj wouldn't be on the throne. Lot of things wouldn't happen, right? So how they are being managed by Krishna is a deep secret. It's a deep mystery. It's not something we can understand. So it is important to understand he's playing a very important role in Krishna Leela. This is Krishna Leela. This is not a common incident that is happening. So Krishna Leela and normal historic events should not be equated on the same platform. Parikshit Maharaj, being a person who's self-controlled, pure devotee, ruling the whole world, suddenly had a thirsty issue, right? And went put a dead snake on a Brahmana's head. If he didn't do that, Srimad Bhagavatam wouldn't be spoken. He wouldn't get cursed. He wouldn't, be the instrument for Srimad Bhagavatam to happen. So we should understand these personalities are great personalities. And Krishna uses them somehow to make certain events happen. So Krishna can create a situation that becomes an example for us to understand, this is how it works, right? Yes. So they are the instruments in Krishna's hands. So we shouldn't judge them. Indra, great personality. We laugh at things Indra does. Literally the kind of curses he gets, my God. But we shouldn't laugh. He's in Bhagavatam. He's playing his part in the Leelas, where his part is to be that person that he is embodying. That doesn't mean, Radharani's husband. His role is to block Radharani from meeting Krishna. Jatila, Kutila, they're devotees of the Lord. But their role in the Krishna Leela is to block Krishna from meeting Radharani. So Krishna can do all these hop-naps and, slyly, and somehow he'll meet Radharani and feel that, joy of meeting her, a new moon night or a full moon night in bank of Yamuna, nobody knows, go through hoops. That is the fun part of a Leela. So they're actually enhancing Krishna's intensity for Radharani, right? By being the jokers that, their roles they're playing. Jatila Kutila, you look at their deities also at Barsana, it's like hair all curled up, and they look, but that's not who they are. They're devotees of the Lord. They're playing a part. So when you see great personalities, pure devotees, they're playing a role in Krishna's Leela. And Krishna has direct access in making them forget something, making them do something, because they're that much surrendered to Krishna that they're like, my Lord, you do whatever you want with me. And Krishna is using them to make a statement for us. Does it answer your question?
Yes. Yes, it did. Thank you.
You can share this recording with your grandfather.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare
See you
Krishna.
next Friday.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.